bat fit on, and that's because today we're chatting about the Last Voyage of the Demeter. It's a fucking Dracula film. Had to got the spooky shirt on. Had to go the theme. Now I got nervous going into this one because I fucking love Dracula. Like I have Dracula's face tattooed on my leg, so this I had a lot riding on this. But I hadn't heard shit about this movie, to be honest. It wasn't shown at any cinemas near me. I wasn't able to catch it before it was unceremoniously dumped onto Amazon Prime. I was honestly ready for a steaming pile of shit. But thank fuck, I actually like this film. Director Andre Overdahl actually seems to want to make a scary vampire film, and he does a pretty solid job. I don't know why I was surprised, because this is the guy behind Troll Hunter, which I haven't seen, but is like a cult classic. He also did Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which I saw and thought was really good. But he also does The Autopsy of Jane Doe, which is one of my favourite horror films of all time. Like, top 5 probably. I feel like this film was marketed atrociously, given that it's got some fucking amazing actors in it, and in it they're giving their fucking all. Like they're doing everything they can to make this a good film. So I feel like the marketing let this down a lot. This movie is basically Predator on a boat. There are also some similarities to Alien in there, but it's mostly Predator. There are so many similarities to Predator. It's a bunch of dudes being assaulted by an unseen thing, and they don't know where it's coming from. They're trying to set traps. Like, it is fucking Predator on a boat. There's even a hostage lady in this who reminds me of Anna from Predator. And I'm not saying that to shit on it, because I fucking love Predator. This is not a rip-off. It's more like they pitched Predator on a boat. Like, I feel like Predator on a boat was the elevator pitch going into this film. This movie is based on the Captain's Log chapter of Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's like this tiny little chapter that talks about how a ship's crew was hired to transport some very suspicious luggage from Transylvania to London. And during their voyage, they find out that the box with the creepy dragon insignia on it, something was not very cash money about that box, and all fucking hell breaks loose while they're trying to sail across the ocean. That's basically it. You can imagine there's some really intense feelings of claustrophobia. You're on a boat. There's nowhere to go. You can't jump off. You're fucked. This film really excels in the acting department. Everyone in this movie does a fucking cracking job. Like, you're watching this, everyone's doing work, cooking, dancing, having a good time, but you can smell the fucking scurvy. Like, there's something filthy about this film, like all good naval films I think should have. My best on ground goes to Dave, I never say this right, Dasmalchian, who is good in everything. Even if you don't know that name, if you Google him, you'll know him. He's really amazing in Prisoners. He was the polka dot man in the Suicide Squad. But in here, you get to see him as like a brawny first mate, and he's pretty fucking threatening, and I think it's great. Liam Cunningham's also in this. He's the Onion Knight from Game of Thrones. He's phenomenal as the captain. He's trying to hold everything together while all hell is breaking loose, and it's fucking great. The best character development in this movie goes to the ship's doctor, Clemens, played by Corey Hawkins. There's a scene where he talks about being a black man with a degree in like the 1800s and how isolating that is. And even though it was like he thought it was going to be this big celebration because he's a pioneer, and honestly, it was fucking heartbreaking. So like the acting's fucking solid in this. I think one of the problems is it's really tough to do a good ending to this movie when everyone knows what the story is. You can't do... Like, if I go and do a Bambi movie, and then I start having people complain that Bambi's mum got shot, yeah, dude, it's fucking Bambi. Like, you're watching a Bambi film. Like, when you know what the ending is before you even start the movie, it's hard to stick... Like, to make a really interesting ending. But I do think he did pretty much the best job he could given that. The writing's on the wall from scene 1, so I don't know how you would have done anything different to what Andre did. And this movie isn't perfect. I think they show Dracula way too much, especially in the bits where they have to use a bit of CGI. But I actually do like the monster design of Dracula in this. They try to make him scary. He's not sparkly. He's not sexy. He's a fucking monster. And he goes through this evolution throughout the film, and you get to watch that, and I think that's done really well. They also use a lot of practical effects, and that's the Dracula I think that does really well in this. Like, when he's practical effects, it's fucking good. I do think this movie does overstay its welcome a little bit. It's clocking at almost 2 hours. I wasn't too fazed by that, though, because it's a bit of a slow burn, but it's a character piece about a fairly full world, so you've got to get a lot of like world building to go on. You've got to bring people into the 1800s. So I wasn't too fazed about that, but I get it. When people say this movie's too long, you could cut 20 minutes off this and still make a really fucking decent Dracula film. The environmental effects in this movie are fucking beautiful. It's always storming. Everything's wet, which, if you know anything about TV production, would have been an absolute nightmare. Sorry, movie production. It would have been an absolute nightmare. But it does add to the spooky atmosphere. And the ship design is really clever because there's so many places for the creature to hide. So you're constantly looking around the background to see if anyone's been snuck up upon. And once again, they're a small crew. So a big ship, tiny crew, they've got to be by themselves to run the ship. You can't have everyone in one place just holed up in a room. That doesn't work. They will all drown. So they use that really well. I'll tell you what this would be good for. This would be a cracking triple bill. Voyage of the Demeter first. Then, second film, The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. And then third film, 8 for Silver to finish it off. They're all really good takes on Universal monsters. They're all set around the same time. And having the tempo of a bit spooky with Demeter, funny, and let's be honest, a little sexy with The Mummy, and then to finish off with something scary, a werewolf film in 8 for Silver, I think that's a fucking cracking triple bill for anyone who is into the OG monsters, the Universal monsters. That's those 3 films. You could play them all in one hit. That'd be fucking amazing. That'd be an amazing night at the movies. I recommend watching this film if you love Predator or Alien. This has all that DNA. If you love naval movies, Master and Commander, Horatio Hornblower, that sort of thing. There's some sea shanties. There's some partying. There's some rum. Everyone smells like shit. But it's fun. It looks like a fun time until shit goes south. If you're into those sort of movies, this is for you. If you played a lot of Black Flag like I did, this is for you. If you're a Universal Monster apologist, once again, check the fit. I am. This is for you. This is not for people who don't like slow burns. This is not for people who want a super scary film. It's not super scary. It's spooky, but in the way that the original Alien or Predator are. If violence against animals or children is too much for you, this big trigger warning going into this one. This Dracula doesn't give a fuck. He's not going to come in a suit and try to seduce you so he can bite your neck. He's a fucking monster, and it's really fun. This is a good film. I think it got buried, which is unfortunate because I want them to revamp a lot of the Universal monsters. I want that to happen. I want spooky vampires again. I want spooky Frankenstein. I know we're gonna get some good Nosferatu and some Frankenstein with Guillermo del Toro, so I'm looking forward to that. But this tied me over. This tied me over till then. I think it's a fucking solid effort, and I think it was just horrendously marketed. To be fair, it's a good film. If you like Dracula, give this a watch. It's fucking sick. As always, thanks for watching. I appreciate the hell out of you, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for another review. Peace.